Janet from another planet? Is 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 Janet from another planet?
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Quickly. Phone. So, anyway, I got Janet on the big screen, and yeah. You're welcome, chat, and men and boys everywhere. You're welcome.
I wanted to be fantasy tonight. I mean, this is one of my favorite fantasy movies of all time. I love Tim Curry, and he's just phenomenal in this character. I love him.
I didn't realize there was so much stuff behind the scenes on this movie.
Yeah,
did.
Sons.
This movie is one of my favorites. It came out. We didn't even know it existed until I was going through the channels and I saw the fight between Darkness and Jack.
Mhm.
Because I catch it at the end, of course. So the next day I go to school and I ask Alicia, one of my friends in English, I said, Tom Cruise movie. He's fighting the devil. What's going on? And she's like, that's Legend. Is it good? She's like, it's great. How'd you see it? I'm like, it was on 43 last night. She's like, Bloomington channel? I'm like, yeah, the syndicated channel. She's like,
Mhm.
that's kind of fast. And we were both in like, it was 88 or 87.
Mhm.
It might have been 90. But it was really like a quick turnaround because usually they didn't hit the syndicated channels for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then when they did hit the syndicated channels for like the next 2 weeks, instead of getting like regular program, this is before Fox became regular. Before they do that, you'd get to see the same movie pretty much every night. So I saw Tron like 8 times 1 month
Mhm.
because of the television, because of how our television was set up and how Illinois is with syndicated channels and such. And then they bought Fox. It was shortly before the acquisition because I remember the next year we had Married with Children, and that saved me from a life of not knowing what great humor is. But you can quote me on that. But I really love this movie. Tim Curry plays probably the best depiction of an evil SOB, supernaturally evil, but he plays the best depiction of evil I've ever seen.
Yeah, to me, from the very beginning, the breathtaking scenery just pulled me in as wanting to be the young princess, being able to romp around in the beautiful, beautiful forest. It had every single beautiful flower and grass and tree that you could imagine in your mind. And then when she gets to see the unicorns frolicking, in the little creek, it just melts my heart every time I see it. It brought me back to being a young woman, getting to watch it and thinking, oh, how romantic it would be to walk hand in hand with someone you care about in a beautiful forest like that. It's just so romantic and just beautiful.
The more you talk, the more I feel we should have hit this movie in February.
Well, but the thing is that, it's okay. Now any month of the year is a good time to be romantic, to think about romance and young love. Even when you're old, you can still have young love because it's from your heart, and your heart should never age. And that's how I look at it. And I'm just an old romantic when it comes to that. I mean, if I could just walk hand in hand with someone that looks in my eyes and just wants to be with me forever, I could do the same thing. And that's how I felt the whole time I watched this movie. Even at the deepest part of his heart, when he's thinking that she's been taken over by evil, he still believes in her, So the whole thing, the whole fantasy through the whole thing was so romantic and yet exciting and gets to bring out the young hero, and the young man. I just loved it. I just loved every aspect of this movie. I thought it was so good. I mean, there were some dorky parts where, with the camaraderie between the little goblins and the little elves, that was so cute with Rom Tom, and it was just made me feel like a little girl, again, in my heart watching it. And this is a movie that I recommend everyone watch if you just want to feel young at heart again, no matter how old you are, because it's just full of fun. It's just fun from beginning to end to me. Even when it's evil, you want to root for the good guys, So, and Tim Curry is so good at being evil
In
that
this
you
movie,
love
he
him
really
being evil.
pops.
You know, you even root for him to be scary. In the part where he shows up in the middle of the forest when after they've taken the unicorn horn and they're playing with it and acting all powerful and thinking they're better than everyone else. And the pig, what was the pig's name again? Do you remember?
Yeah, the pig man. I remember that. That's how I
When
remember.
he's like, why don't we make a huge mountain of garbage? You know, it just that whole scene between them was just, I just loved it. I mean, it was just so emotional for me to get to watch it again. I'd forgotten how much I just loved it. And then seeing darkness come up, and you don't really know it's darkness because he's just clothing, almost like moving fabric being blown around, you know, in the darkness. And it fills you with a creepy sensation of fear, you know, of, you know, what's to come, because he's so evil, you know, about him wanting the other unicorn to die. And it's just the epitome of fantasy to me.
Peter O'Farrell played Pox.
Mm-hmm.
That's he still has the photo of the pig makeup on.
Oh, he was
IMDb.
He was so repulsive. All of them were. When you see the very first scene and you see the evil guy, or what was his name? The other goblin, the darkest one. Which one?
Blix?
Yeah, Blix.
Yeah.
That was a woman.
Yeah, that was the lady who played her.
That was a woman that played it, and it was just, it was so scary. It just made me fear that I was going to have nightmares because of those evil ears coming up, and the pointy nose, and it just seemed a demon. It seemed like a demon to me, and it was very repulsive. So it made you instant fear there, especially when he goes up to darkness as he's sitting on his throne, and he's telling them about what did we use to draw that in, and he says innocence. It's just it's so fitting at any time, because what do you see out in the world when you watch the news? You just see so much hatred and evilness, you know, people attacking each other and killing each other, and just horrible things going on. So when you watch a movie like this, you can see the epitome of evil coming from his character, and it's just gut-wrenching, but exciting.
The script in this, like, there's a couple of weak people in this movie, like the young satyr.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name, but he didn't impress me too much. I'll just say that. I liked his makeup, but whenever he's trying to talk to Jack and reason with Jack, it felt like he had just freshly graduated from I'm acting school, you know. And that I hate to say that, but I mean, watching this now, like, it's like, man, that's like the worst performance in this film. Mm-hmm. And then, like, not too long after that, you get to deal with Meg Muckbones, which Meg was played by Robert Picardo, of all people.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite people in the entire Star Trek millennium. I mean, I'm not a big Voyager guy at all, but he was fun. Mm-hmm. He was a fun character in that. And he was also in Gremlins, too, I might add. Mm-hmm.
What be this bait? Please, you teach me.
Yeah, Bowsette. That is the just best goblin I've ever seen on camera. And I like everybody that was involved with this film, except for Mia, Sara, and Tom Cruise, is doomed for a minimum of 3 to 5 hours of makeup. Mm-hmm. 3 to 5 hours.
But not just that, the thought of being on set and watching them set the camera up at different angles, because I'm sure that a lot of the sets that weren't as huge as what they made it look like, mm-hmm. with the forest scenes and stuff. And like when they're doing the scene and they're on their knees and they're looking at the unicorns, I can pretty much tell you that just some potted plants sitting in front of them of the lilies.
Yes.
But the way that the angles of the camera and the way they had it set up, and then they took the little, I don't know what you call those things that you blow off of, like the dandelions, the little things you blow off.
Hey, Orange Hat, how you doing?
The little seeds. So
Yes.
you can see that when they turn the fan on you, they're blowing those little seeds across to kind of give it the whimsical, fairy fantasy woods. And it
Gotta
was
have the fairy dust flitting
just
through the
every
air.
little aspect of that as he's looking through with Ridley Scott looking through the camera lens, to have you visualize what this fantasy world would be like. And it was just, to me, it was just breathtaking. I mean, people talk about the different stuff from the movie Dune, with the beautiful fantasies backgrounds for another planet, different planets in the outer space and stuff. But this one, to me, was just, it just immersed me in fantasy just by looking at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful forest filled with all these beautiful oak trees and elms and just pampas grass and and flowers of so many different colors. Like when she's on her knees, when she gives the challenge, when she's holding her little locket that has the lights that flicker in Tom Cruise's face, Jack's face, and she's got her necklace and she's talking to him and it has the little charm on it. The beautiful flowers that are surrounded by, the violets and stuff. It just pulls you in. You can't help but feel like you're in the forest with them as you're watching them interact. And at least it was for me. I absolutely love that. His angles and the, what he was trying to portray to everyone that was watching it. I think he just hit me right in the heart by everything he did, by using the props and the music, the creatures. You even see little rabbits and you see little squirrels scurrying around and birds. You could tell he just worked really, really. He was very diligent about making sure that part came across to the people watching the film. And I just loved that. To me, it was worth every dime that they spent to do that, because it was so believable and beautiful. It just made me want to be there.
This is a really good execution of how to get your director of photography and your set designer to have like a really good friendship, and how they can go through storyboards and how they can plan things beforehand and just shoot possibly the prettiest movie until 2001 when The Fellowship of the Ring came out.
Definitely.
I think that's probably the only point where I thought that would be eclipsed, or the only point in my movie watching time that I think Legend gets eclipsed in. And there's also something else I really need to tell all of you. Ridley Scott is one of two directors that I've probably gotten in more heated confrontations and discussions about than George Lucas. This is a fine movie, a great example of his dedication to the craft and how he will spend overtime and how he will be that man you want for the studio to do a project and to make sure that when you're watching it on film, you know where your money went. You know exactly where all that money went. This is one of those films that you watch it, and I didn't realize there was a director's cut back when I was a young kid. I watched it yesterday, and I thought, wow, this is really good, because it's got some extra minutes in it. It has a little bit more story to it, a little bit more meat on the bone, and it kind of goes into that entire thing where Sara doesn't exactly play a quote unquote a good character. She means well, good intentions will get you only so far. And that's something I'm still wrestling with that sometimes. But I'll just say that she just wanted to pet a unicorn, and this entire movie happened because of that. I mean,
well, honestly, though, if you really paid attention to the movie, because for a long time after I watched it, I blamed her for all of it. That because of her selfishness, wanting to, because she was a spoiled rotten princess, wanting to pet the unicorn, is the reason why they were able to get the shot. But honestly, they were already there. They already had it dipped in poison, ready to go.
Yeah.
And just by them being there and drawing them to the unicorns, because they knew where they were going to be, was the only reason he was able to shoot the stallion with the poison dart in the first place. So honestly, if you just go by that, it really wasn't her fault that she petted it. Because he was still going to be able to shoot one anyways, and it might have been the female that they shot. So that was just the reason why it gave her to want to fight back even more, was because she thought it was her fault, even though I don't really feel it now that I watched it this time, and really paid attention to the details behind it instead of just being just enthralled with the movie. Looking at it totally different, because when you're looking at it to review it, you see things that you normally wouldn't notice, because you're trying to twist it and turn it around to kind of look at it, and the opening part when it talks about darkness and everything. Let me see. I thought I had it written down. Hold on for a second. I loved that. I forgot about how awesome that was. And I took a video of it, and it said, once long ago, before there was such, wait a minute, darn it, I messed up. Clicked on the wrong thing. Hold on. Poop. Before there was such a thing as time, the world was shrouded in darkness, which it just gives me goosebumps. Then came the splendor of light, bringing life and love into the universe. And the Lord of darkness retreated deep into the shadows of the earth, plotting his return to power by banishing light. And then forever. And then it says, but precious light is protected, harbored in the souls of unicorns, the most mystical of all creatures. Unicorns are safe from the Lord of darkness. They can only be found by the purest of mortals. Such a mortal is Jack, who lives in solitude with the animals of the forest. A beautiful girl named Lily loves Jack with all her heart, and in their innocence, they believe only goodness exists in the world. Together, they will learn there can be no good without evil, no love without hate, no heaven without hell, no light without darkness. The harmony of the universe depends upon the eternal balance. Out of the struggle to maintain his balance comes the birth of legends. I just love that. I had to record it. I went back and rewound it and recorded it because it was so, it almost brought you into biblical terms of it. Even if you don't believe in it, we all believe that the earth was created somehow with Big Bang or whatever from total darkness.
Something happened.
So I just thought that was a wonderful opening for the movie. The almost like you're reading it from a storybook, and then all of a sudden it bursts into life in front of you with the beautiful forest, and you see her walking through it, frolicking around as a young girl with no cares in the world, because that's how we all are when we're young. We think we're invincible and that there's nothing out there that can ever take us down. And as we get older, we realize that life sucks, and then you die. Basically, you do everything you can, to.
Here's some knee pain for you. Hey, how's your hip feeling? Bet you it's feeling bad now.
Yeah. So, it just made me feel like a little girl again.
Did you squeeze too hard and pull to your sternum?
But
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
But you know what I mean. It just was very, I don't know, just it just made me feel, it took me back until when I was a young girl with young love, in my heart, thinking about going out in the woods and maybe finding my prince, that type of thing. And it was I just loved it. I just loved all of it, the fantasy of it, the beauty of it. And I haven't seen in any movie since this one of any unicorns as beautiful as the ones they had in this movie.
The white Andalusians they used, which actually Orange Hat Reviews actually repeated that, or I just saw it like yesterday as I was going through my deep dive, and he pops it up like, yeah, the Blitz Goblin was based on Keith Richards. I'm like, I've known that for a while, but that's always a strange thing to read. Like, wait, what? Blitz the Goblin. They looked at Keith Richards and they kind of took some photographs and they're like, yeah, we can goblinize him. And voila, we get Blix.
But remember when we watched the movie with this god Zeus in it? What was the name of that one again?
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Pegasus in that. And there were scenes of it that looked really, really corny and fake, but it was still helped your imagination be able to visualize what a Pegasus would look like. In this one, you could tell they just took so much care into putting the horns on them, and they looked very realistic. Even when he chopped it off, and the horse was sitting there with his head down, with the the partial unicorn horn coming from his head. But all of it seemed even more believable when you had Tim Curry explaining to you the power and the magnitude of what a unicorn offers to the world, through magic. And it was just, I just loved it. I just can't go on and on about it. This is a movie I could watch every week, and I could sit and hold hands and watch this movie because it's so romantic and beautiful. It pulls me into love. I mean, it's just, what would you do for love if you love someone enough to sacrifice yourself? I mean, Jack put on some champions, chainmail, and took his sword and was ready to go to battle for her. I mean, what young woman doesn't want to think about that? I mean, I don't want him to die, but the thought that he would do that for me, it just is so romantic, So all of that was just, that's how I felt the whole time I'm watching. I was just biting my nails, just going, even though I knew it was going to happen, but just so enthralled into the romance of it, the fairy tale, because that's what this is. It's a fairy tale, but it's a living fairy tale. To get to see the beautiful unicorns frolicking around, and then seeing the whole forest turn to darkness and be covered with frozen ice, and then little Gump comes along, and he's amazing too. I thought Gump did such a good job. Such a great job to balance out the goodness from the evil from Tim Curry's character, because he was pure of heart, because he was of the forest. Now Jack's character was the hero, basically for us to see him try to win over evil for his woman, for his young maiden that he wants to marry, in the future. Which we feel in our stomachs, in our hearts, we know that probably wouldn't really happen, because in reality, a peasant wouldn't be able to marry a princess. But still the thought of it was just very wonderful.
They give her the title of princess, but you don't ever see her, aside from just being regaled by the few people that are in the world around her.
Mm-hmm.
They actually show she doesn't have a castle to go retreat to.
Well, you don't see that part.
Yeah,
see, that's the intrigue of it. Is she a princess? Is she just a rich maiden? That snuck away to go see her lover in the woods. The young man that she met, that she's falling in love with. She snuck away from without permission, basically. So she was already a little bit naughty when she went into the woods, even though she was pure, because she was still a virgin, supposedly. And that's why darkness was attracted to her. It's because when he's talking to his father, which is Satan, which you assume is Satan, he's like, why is he tempted by this woman? And he's telling him, because she's innocent. You need to make her one of us. You need to woo her, you know, charm her. And that's why, and all his gifts, even though they're breathtakingly beautiful, but they have a hint of sinisterness with them. You know, when you see the table set with the fruit with the sugar on it, and it's dark, you know, like a dark red, and then the wine glass is filling up, you know, with the rich wine. It's probably, you know, you just want to taste it because you just want to, you're tempted by it. It's a, you know, fruits of temptation, basically. And then the beautiful gown that's dancing around, wanting her to want it, you know. So the whole thing is like he's hypnotizing her into to accepting his gifts. And I just loved it. I just thought, even that aspect of it, even though it was gloomy and scary and creepy, and there was cobwebs and creatures that come up out of the ground, you know, that Gump, you know, fights off like a little cat when he's scratching at him and stuff. I just loved it. It was just so like it put you in a dream state as you're watching each of the different mystical characters come out, even underground in the darkness. And the aspect of seeing her holding the charm and the light glistening off of it onto his face, where he realizes, I think we have a way, because they know that sunlight is the only way they can hurt darkness. So by setting up the whole thing and going in there and fighting, the scene where they're fighting in the kitchen with those big gruesome hideous creatures, like ogres that are down there cooking people up, putting them in pies and everything. I just thought that was so cool, because it's just like the witch, the gingerbread house witch, where she's going to take the kids and fatten them up and put them in a pie, you know, to eat. So I just thought that was, you know, it was a mixture of different fairy tales, Grimm fairy tales from when we were young. And we, you know, our grandmother or our mothers would read us, or dad. And it just took little aspects of different areas to make you think about it while you're watching it. And it can't help but pull you into your childhood, because even a grown man, I think, watching this would have memories of childhood, of different things happening and creatures and stuff that's going on. It would just pull you out back to your childhood memories when you're watching this movie. And I don't see how anyone could not feel that watching this movie. Did it make you think of your childhood when you watched it?
The first time I watched it, I was thinking the dwarves or the gnomes are really weird. And I didn't really know how to take that, because I had just come off of reading The Hobbit for the third time, getting ready for Lord of the Rings. And I'm starting to look at this like, is this how the old English legends are? So I had to go to school and ask Alicia, and then we asked our teacher in English, and she was just a Tolkien scholar. She's like, no, that movie is really good, but it's got some good special effects, but it's not really like Eastern European. I'm like, okay. And so like we derailed an entire class for like 2 days straight talking about Eastern European fairies and mysticism from this Romanian lady. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that they really got right was the various way that a lot of cultures view like the underworld or hell. And I think that the set design, especially when they're trying to sneak around and trying to maneuver themselves to where they can get darkness either to have the fight and put himself in a bad position, or maybe just rescue Lily. I don't know. But I was watching this film with my father about 2 years after that, and my dad was like, okay, so what's going on now? And I had no enjoyment with my dad watching the movie, because every 30 seconds I feel like I'm watching a movie with a 4-year-old having to explain the film to him. Like, just watch the movie. The movie tells the story itself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And my mom saw it, and she's like, "Oh, I hate Tom Cruise." And then that very same summer, Top Gun comes out. No,
Mhm.
this was after Top Gun, but after Top Gun came out, she finally sees it like in 91 or 92. She's like, "That's a really good movie." I usually don't like Tom Cruise. The last movie he did I liked was Risky Business. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's his first movie, isn't it? And we had a debate about that, but she is a hater of Tom Cruise. My mom hates everything Tom Cruise.
Well, I don't usually like him either. I liked him in Maverick, and I liked him in the new Maverick that came out, and I liked him in this one. But that's pretty much the only things I've liked him in. Because
so-
I think to me, what's really bad is when an actor goes public about politics or other things going on in their life, their religion or whatever, it turns me off. Even the singers, like when Cher or any of these people come out and talk about Pink or any of them about how much they hate, people because they want to live their life and have their own choices. It just makes me not want to buy their music. They don't entertain me anymore because now they're stamped, with this, whatever it is that their rhetoric that they're trying to push on you. It takes away from their ability to make me believe that they're a character in something, because all I can see is their hatred towards, someone or
Yeah.
a country or whatever. So it ruins it for me. So I like it more. Even if someone says, "Oh, they're this or they're that," if I haven't personally seen them, I'm able to not think about that and enjoy them as the character that you're supposed to be portraying in a movie, which is what I wish more actors would do. Just keep your trap shut and act, and let us enjoy them as an actor, as a character in something, especially when they're good at it. I want to see that. That's what I want to remember them as.
And I know Tom Cruise is not exactly silent about things.
Mhm.
He's learned in the last few years, like, hey, I want to make money. And,
Yeah, acting is good.
He's actually kind of mellowed out on his jumping on couches and crazy batshit things.
Mhm.
He hasn't done that since he lost Katie Holmes, and I'm sorry for you losing your wife, in a divorce, but you kind of caused it yourself, Tom. And he's realized that, and so he's done less and less crazy things, and we get to enjoy more of his production, which I really don't know how many more movies he's going to be in. I do want to do a review of Top Gun Maverick sometime because I've got some criticisms of that movie that are fucking valid. It's a great movie. It's a wonderful movie. I'm a little upset about the fact that a bunch of 01s and 02s and maybe an 03 would grab an 05 and throw them on the sand outside of a beach bar. I'm a little pissed about that. Like, I've been around even West Coast sailors, which are supposed to be chill. There's no chill that allows you as an 02 to fling your instructor an 05 onto the beach outside the bar. Get out. So, and they really drop the ball a lot of places. But on Legend, when they picked Tom Cruise for this movie, he wasn't really a pretty boy. This is the longest we ever see his hair in his career. Well, maybe, excuse me, there was the one, the samurai film, but I don't know if that's his real hair or not because I've never watched it and watched the backstory and all the background things like I know about this movie. But up until like 2002, I think this is the longest his hair got. And it was a lot of fun. He was The Last Samurai, and we'll have to watch that someday, but because that's supposed to be really good. It's got some other.
He was very unkempt in this one, and I like that. I thought it gave him a chance to be something that you don't normally see him as. No. For someone who hadn't seen this before he became famous, before he became Tom Cruise, the blockbuster seller of movies. But I mean, I could see the rawness in his acting ability because he really wasn't very good of an actor when he was in this movie. But he was young and handsome, and he was able to portray somebody bewildered by what's going on around them or whatever. And he was up and coming, so I could see why they put him in this movie. But the actor that played Gump and the actor Tim Curry definitely overshadowed everyone else in the movie. So it's kind of, the rest of the acting really didn't ruin the movie for you because of so much of dynamics of some of the other characters. Even the two little elves, that one that climbs up into the fireplace, goes up, up to get the light. That actor and the other one, where them two are the ones that found out where the mayor was at being held. Those two were really good. I mean, they were funny. But it was everything that every time they did anything funny and we're doing a lot of interacting, Willow kept popping in my head because I loved Willow too. That was a very, very good movie for me. Brought me lots of joy. So that popped up. But what I was looking at in the chat was the fact that Orange Hat Reviews brought up about a man playing a woman and a woman playing a man in this movie way back then. Well, today, with the new laws that they put in place, being able to win an Academy Award, that won't happen. You won't be allowed to have a man play a woman or a woman play a man, or, any of the vice versa type stuff. So that is now a law that won't happen. But see, to me, what was cool was the diversity that they used to have a good actor play a character. And what a good job they did. I mean, like he said about the Meg Mucklebones, the witch that lives in the swamp, how hideous. I mean, I remember how scared I was when I first watched her pop up out of the water, and the voice that she had, and just the hideous, the scary. It was just very scary to me, and very believable of a swamp witch to me. It was just the thought of her wanting to just eat him, just have him for dinner. And she was gross. And the makeup and just the whole premise of her was just gross. So they did a great job in the costumes and stuff, all with that character in the swamp too. And it wasn't even that big of a swamp, but just the view of it, it looked very believable to be a swamp, with the mist rising up off of the water and the dead trees, coming up out of the swampy marsh. And it was just really good. And the fact that you see the little elf, is down in, or was it an elf, or what would you call them? Little dwarves?
Dwarfs.
Okay, the little dwarf that goes in the water, and she attacks him, and she says, "Foul tasting fairy," or whatever. Yeah. And she's hideous. I mean, she's just a hideous creature that most people would have nightmares if they ever saw something like that in real life. And I just thought it was very good. And that scene, I thought Tom Cruise did a very good job at being believable as his role. Crouched down behind his shield, not knowing what to do or how to protect himself from this hideous gross witch.
I could see Tom Cruise playing a out of his depth actor trying to pull off Aragorn in a movie.
Yeah.
And only because in this film here, he's a very young man. He's like 22 or so, and he's acting in this movie trying to be kind of like a ranger or woodsman. And I absolutely just adored how they were able to capture his, needs with various things. And they did a real good job. Unfortunately, here's my bitch about Tom Cruise in the 1980s. In the 1980s, Tom Cruise played one role in all the movies he did, where he is the young pup, and there's always a mentor out there that has to school him. And in this movie, he plays a young pup that's a fighter or a ranger, however you want to look at it. And he actually does the right thing with just the fairies kind of mentoring him on what needs to happen. Now, I like that. I really do. But there's other movies where he doesn't have that freedom. He relies on a mentor character until their demise. See the movie Cocktail, or what was the one where there were NASCAR drivers? God, Tom Cruise driving in NASCAR. I'm sorry, that's just that I know he was acting. He did not drive a NASCAR. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. So I'm sorry I can't help you with the name of it.
But yeah, there were so many Tom Cruise films where like his buddy or mentor dies and afterwards he has to rise. Like that he had the tools before, but now you're on your own, Bucko. You got to do it. And yeah, Days of Thunder. Thank you, Six Nations, 31 Kings. And he has this in all of his movies he did. The Color of Money. I don't think Newman died in that film, but that's probably my favorite Tom Cruise film outside of like Top Gun, Maverick, and Legend. That would be my number 4. And that's a really good movie. We should actually review that one of these days, but we need to review the first one with Paul Newman in it, back from the 50s first, because that's a really great film. And that one, you know, The Color of Money just does a wonderful job of just giving you a kind of like a sequel, or like later in life this happens. Orange Hat Reviews also says the European version or director's cut has more fairy scenes. Yeah, I just watched the director's cut yesterday. If you want a link, I'll get it to you. It's a really good link because, one, it's very clear. 2, the music is done by Jerry Goldsmith, which I'm not going to hate on Tangerine Dream at all. I love Tangerine Dream. I listen to them whenever I'm painting and I'm not online. If I'm not watching any videos, Tangerine Dream it is. Or,
is that who sang the music?
That's who did the music for the American theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I put a link for you in your Discord or in your private number, your private chat, and that gets you to the hour and like 53-minute movie that this should have been. Because this is such a wonderful film when you look at it in its wholeness, because you get more fairy scenes, there's more versions where you get to see, or more instances where you get to see just how much of a greedy little bitch Lily is. And I say that, but God damn it, she just is that greedy little bitch.
Well, you know that at the beginning when she, see, that's why even when no one had said anything yet about her being a princess, the way she's dressed, okay, very, very rich. You could tell by her clothing and the way her hair is done. When she goes in and she sees the woman that had made cookies, and she just makes herself at home. She just goes into this house and she's eating off the lady's table and stuff. That's all something a spoiled brat would do, basically. You know, someone who thinks that, oh, I can do whatever I want because I'm the princess, you know. So she already had that attitude, that me attitude. And so, but that's what I would expect somebody of privilege to act like, you know, in those times. You know, just like the woman who's talking to her about be careful of toadstools and old oaks, you know, and all the little wives' tales that people would, you know, use back in the, you know, in the times where you'd think that's the kind of thing that they would talk about or whatever and say. But the woman isn't going to tell her she can't come in her house. I mean, she's the princess. She could pretty much do whatever she wants. So, you know, after watching Game of Thrones and you see the more realistic point of view on, you know, the dirtiness, and sometimes people don't get to bathe and, you know, all those different things. But this was more of the fantasy side of what it's like to actually have a fairy tale book come to life, and the aspects of that. And that's what I loved about it. Even though she was spoiled rotten, she wasn't a brat. I mean, she was kind to the woman. You know, she was kind to Jack. And when she realized that she thought it was her fault that they had shot the stallion with the poison dart, she was remorseful. You know, and she was wanting to do something, but she didn't know what to do. She was just a privileged girl that really didn't know how to handle anything. She didn't know what she was going to do to fix it. So she was wandering through the woods not knowing what to do. But she knew that if she followed those goblins, that sooner or later they would probably lead her to the other unicorn that was taken. So when she finds the unicorn with what was his name, the little goblin guy that was protecting her.
Oh, Blix.
Yeah. So when he's fighting off the evil goblins that come, and he's really fast and swift for a short little fat guy, he was just adorable. I just fell in love with his character. And he's got that big nose and the big ears sticking out, and his little voice and his teeny hands. Oh, they were so cute. It just made me think of it made me think of my Deadpool my Deadpool hands, that I play with sometimes in my videos. But his hands were just so small, and he was just so cute. I just wanted to pick him up and give him a big old hug because he was just adorable. And then when he gets shot with the arrow in his little elderberry wine container, and he passes out from fright, basically thinking he's dead because it shot him in his brain pan or whatever you want to call it. But and then they take the princess and the mayor to darkness after that. So when they find him and he's telling them there was about 20 of them or whatever, how any person that was in some kind of tussle or whatever would always wanted to make it sound like they fought bravely, and that's what he was doing. So he made the story sound way worse than it was, but it was pretty bad anyways because they had taken the princess and the unicorn. So that was a really good scene, and it got Jack more likely to want to go after her because now he knows she's still alive, and that she's with the unicorn. So that's when they decide to go down underground to see if they can save her and the mayor. And the fact that when the evil goblin, what was his name, Blix?
Yes.
Okay, when Blix says, well, it's just one female, what can she do? Or she's not, she's nothing. And he goes, she's got the power of creation. Yeah. So that gave me goosebumps. And a lot of the lines that Tim Curry said, and the way that he said it, and the way he walked with commandment, he commanded the room, he was so powerful, and he came across that way by the way he spoke and the expressions on his face. Even though he had all that makeup on and stuff, you could still, his presence commanded you to be drawn into him, and he was just awesome. Was this movie nominated for any awards or anything?
I don't believe it was. I don't believe so.
He did such a good job. He's amazing. He's an amazing actor to me. There's been a few actors in my life that I've seen in so many different types of movies. The actor that passed away last year that was in Galaxy Quest, he was in Harry Potter, he was in a bunch of movies, but he was so good at what he did. He was just, every character he played was believable, and you don't get that a lot in a lot of actors, but he did a good job. And that's how I feel about Tim Curry. I just think that he's just a presence that you cannot deny when he's on screen. He just does such a good job. Even on Criminal Minds, when he played some kind of psycho killer on there, he's just good at it. And that's why it was really hard when I saw the second It to really accept the actor, even though I thought he did the best he could, with his googly eye that wiggled around, looked the other direction and stuff. I can't remember what his first name is, Skarsgård or whatever is his last name. Thor's little brother played It in the newer movies, the updated versions, but I still didn't think it was a drop in the bucket next to Tim Curry's It character. So, but that's how I feel about it. It's just hard for me to accept other person in it once to me, the perfect person plays that role. And honestly, I don't think they could remake this movie and it'd be as good as what he was able to portray. as Darkness. There was only a couple scenes where he was doing the sword fight with Tom Cruise's character, and I'm sure that it wasn't Tim Curry. It was another person wearing the rubber mask, because the facial expressions and stuff just were not the same. There was an open, gaping mouth type of thing, so it looked like a mask. Did you notice that in some of the scenes?
I did.
So there was little things like that took me away. It pulled me out of that.
It didn't pull me out too hard. I'll just say
No,
that.
it didn't pull me way out. It was just a second or two that made me realize it was a mask, but it was still good, because it made me even appreciate even more when it was him and not a mask, a person wearing a mask. So I just thought he was phenomenal as that character. Thought he just really knocked it out of the park. I don't see anyone else could ever be him, ever. as Darkness, he's the only one.
Yes, I like the version of the Tim Curry's version of Pennywise the Clown so much better than what I've seen with the new one. The new one's okay, but the first movie for it does not do me a whole lot of justice. It does not. I can only watch it in limited bursts, because I don't know, it just bores me. Like they don't have any real character building scenes. Everything in the movie just serves to just push it further, and that's it. Like there's no like quote unquote fat. The 1980s version or 1990s that was on TV with Tim Curry as Pennywise, that was peak. I think that was the best that we'll get, because you had so many good parts in that you don't really need those scenes, but those scenes just kind of added a little bit extra reasons to like or appreciate or fucking hate certain characters. That's the problem with the new It movie. It's just everything just serves as a funnel to suck you to the end credits. That's it. It was not a very filling ride.
It's like that new show about the kids and their that girl number 6 or whatever. I'm trying to remember the name of that series, but they gave you enough about the characters. They were like the Goonies almost, and they played DD. Stranger Things. Okay. The way that they filmed it and did that series is what brought me back to the 80s, basically the 80s or 90s, the way that they made TV shows and movies and stuff. They made you love the characters. They made you want to root for them. Sometimes today it seems like they just throw people together and they don't really give you any character behind them, so you don't connect as well as a lot of these other characters. Just like in this movie, Gump, and then Una, when she's just a little light and he's protecting her and carrying her around because he thinks that she's just this teeny tiny fairy, and come to find out that she's this bright and she can change into a grown person.
Anything.
So and was keeping that a secret from Gump, and he felt, you spiteful sprite or whatever, because she, was hiding that from him. But the whole concept of that, it was character arcs for these characters. So you wanted to like them, you knew more about them, where they came from. Now, the one guy that was in the pie, that was the goblin or whatever, that was an elf, but now he's a goblin, or a what was it again? A dwarf, I guess.
Like a dwarf or a fairy or what?
Yeah, whatever he was. He was in the fairy realm. He was a member of the fairy clan, but he was a separation. Like how you have a group of these people, but they each have their own little faction in this group. So that's how I looked at it. But I really didn't ever have feelings for that one that was in the pie. So I could care less whether or not they saved him when he said thank you when they finally got him out of the pie and freed him. Because at first you see that he was with them. He was involved in shooting the unicorn he was evil. So maybe that is why they did that, and why I didn't really connect with him, because I didn't care whether he died or not, because he was a bad character. He was evil. And maybe they were trying to get him a redemption. But at the end, when he's standing in front of the doorway, when the light shines through the door and it blasts it away, he's standing right there and gets blasted away with the doors. So that was one scene I was like, well, he got what he deserved because he was a bad boy. But he did help, them get rid of darkness. And, because the light was like, being shown down there was like very powerful and down in the depths under the ground. So I thought that was really good and very smart how they did that. And Una getting to go up there and help wake him up so they could stand that heavy shield up to reflect the light of the sun before it went down. She had her character arc too, and she did it, even though she was mischievous, mischievous. She tries to pretend to use her fairy glamour on Jack, to get him to romance her as his is the woman he was, the young woman he was in love with. So, all that was, I just thought it was very good, and it was the story, made you want to root for them, so I liked them. I thought they did a good job at making you care about the characters, each of the characters. Do what?
There's certain parts about 80s movies that I really like the set design or the makeup. And this movie, I think, by far has more makeup artists on it than any film we have looked at since we've started running this about 48 weeks ago. And I'm just going to say, this movie has the mark of greatness on it. It's really a very well done film. I don't like the fight choreography, and I know they're doing a really good job of showing you how powerful darkness was compared to Little Jack. And Tom Cruise is only like 5'7" or 5'8".
I think he's 5'7".
He's got some fluffy boots on in this movie, which I think a lot of basic bitches were looking at those boots when they watch it now, like, oh my god, I love his Uggs, And I the fight scenes in this movie are probably the worst part of this movie for me, and I hate to say that because that takes the wind out of sails, but the rubber mask whenever Tim Curry or Darkness is fighting. That probably doesn't take me out, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the fact that this wonderful movie is getting ready to end, and the director's cut has this really nice ending to it. It's not a happy ever after ending bullshit. It's not like I love you, Jack, and all this stuff. They kind of realize it's best if we're just platonic friends. We don't do things, and she goes off to live in her spoiled nobility, and he goes back to the woods to be the champion of the fairies. And when I say that, I'm not trying to make fun of Tom Cruise, but this is a better ending, I think, than the original version, which is just well, there's got to be a guy and a girl in it, and for heterosexuality, we're going to make them be lovers, and they walk happily in the end, and it's like, god damn it. This is like one of Kai's rants. I fucking hate watching Americanized movies or modern day movies where they had to have a heterosexual couple. And just because there's a girl, there's got to be a guy, and they're going to get together. And, we got to have this little rom-com bullshit in your action film. Got to ruin 5 minutes of what would have been 135 minutes of good taste. And instead, we got to give you all, your tab A goes to slot B when the credits roll. But now it's worse because
it's the same thing in Deadpool. I mean, you had to have the romance in it because a lot of people like me, enjoy that part of it. That's the part, the little bit of romance between Wolverine and a couple of the other women in the comic books, because he had a couple of kids, and with different women. But that to me is exciting. I mean, romance novels are a huge business. Okay. And who reads those? Women. Okay. Women
Primary
want
pursuit of
fantasy. Okay. I'm a woman. Okay. I'm a real woman and I love romance. I mean, I'm a tomboy. But even as a tomboy that likes fishing and hiking and horseback riding and camping and things like that, I still like the thought of a man walking out in a field and picking flowers and bringing them to me and telling me you're beautiful, but these flowers are beautiful, but not as beautiful as you, or something corny and stupid. I know it sounds corny and stupid, but women like that. Any man that would do that for a woman, instead of going to the grocery store or whatever and buying roses, if you went out and picked flowers, daffodils and whatever else, and put a few, broke off a couple limbs with some leaves on it and put it in there and then took it to her and tied a shoestring around it or anything like that. The fact that you took the time out to pull over the side of the road and pick these flowers and bring them to that person, I just can't explain it to you any different than that. To me, that's romance. That to somebody that took time out of their life to do something just for me. Okay. I can't explain any different than that, but I guarantee you can 90% of women like that, want that.
Yeah.
It's not reality. It's fantasy. It's make believe. It's role play. It's I don't know. I don't know how to put it any different than that. Men like to see men fight. Men like to see boobies bounce and tushy jiggle or whatever type thing for that moment of sexual pleasure or whatever, that they get a rise out of that. But women like romance. They want to hold hands. They want to see a kiss, not making out and groping. They want to see the romantic kiss of two people, two lovers embracing and kissing. These little things like that. I know it sounds stupid, and they might ruin a good movie for a man because of it's taken out happening in the action part of something or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, when I see a warrior fighting off a dragon or a horde of warriors like in the movie 300, and knowing he's sacrificing himself or fighting all these people to protect his wife and child, that's romantic,
Yeah.
and I like that. I'm drawn into it, just like I guess most women would do that, but that's how I see it.
Like I enjoy the fact that they appreciate you as a person in the director's cut, where they're like, Jack and Lily probably don't go back and make kids.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the woods. She's from nobility. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to go back and have her as a friend, and she's welcome to accompany him. And he'll think about things like, I wonder if this could have worked out, but he'll probably find somebody better for him because he sees the flaws in Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there made me happy, because as much as you guys might see somebody that's gorgeous or beautiful or absolutely stunning, and oh my God, she's got big ghibli bits. They just jiggle all over the place. She gets on Instagram and she gets on the treadmill and she puts the cameraman or her husband behind her, and he holds up the camera and gets the butt cheeks moving in the way that God intended, and with all that thickness stuffed in the yoga pants.
Mm-hmm.
And we love that. Hey, Tommy in the Bikini Pig Collective, how you doing, sir? That's how we want, yes. But Jack realizes that's probably not the girl for him. That's probably not the woman that's going to bear his kids, because he realizes that she's kind of materialistic. And when you're a woodcutter, you're a woodcutter. Okay? We'll be frank about it. He's going to have the fairies and the other woodland spirits giving him an emotional wealth which she will not know in her life, because she had opportunities for that. And instead of her just appreciating those things, she had to reach out and try to taint it with her handprint. And I love the fact that the director's cut of the movie is so based different than the theatrical version. The theatrical version they run off and they make mad love, or they take me, Jack, and it's not how I saw it. Like the final 5 or 7 minutes of theatrical movie, I would turn it off on the VCR. My dad's like, "Why are you turning it off?" "I don't want to see this." "But he gets the girl, right?" "Yeah."
Uh-huh.
"Would you want her?" He's like, "I mean, she's pretty." And I'm like, "Heather Hughes is pretty. I don't want her like that." And my dad would laugh, and he's like, I see what you're saying, son. And he's
But
like,
the thing
"Okay,
is,
my bad."
in my mind, watching it at the end and everything, I really didn't even think about the future of them two being together, because to me, he was at his peak in the forest. So he would probably end up with someone like Una, not the princess, to
Not a
me.
bad catch either.
But
Una.
the thing is that I don't think that's really what the story was pushing towards, to make everybody think that they were going to end up marrying each other. Because anyone that knows anything about nobility, of history, things like that, you would know that it was just a flash in the pan type thing. It was just a quick romance in the woods. Of young love, just like I was saying, it was their first love for both of them. They met in the woods when she was walking, and he showed her the beauties of the wilds of things that were in the forest. And because he was a girl and she was a boy, I mean, I think everyone can remember their first kiss. When I think I was 10 years old, the first time a boy kissed me on the lips. And I was shocked. I didn't know what to think about it. And he wasn't an old man or anything like that. He was another kid. I think he was like 12 or something. But it's all that. It's a learning thing that we all go through, of young love, or the feelings, the butterfly feelings, the nervousness, the being scared of, should I try to ask him if he wants to hold my hand, or does he want to go on the swings with me? Those things. Or I'm going to have my mom make us some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so we can go on a picnic. It's young love. It isn't supposed to mean the future. It's not supposed to mean forever. It's just your first love. I don't know. That's how I looked at it. I didn't look at it as a forever romance. To me, it was just very romantic that they met and they shared kisses together and got to see a lot of wonderful things in the forest together. And then this bad, tragic thing happened, and they both blamed themselves, but they didn't want to blame each other. So I just thought all that was just beautiful to me. It was a beautiful fantasy dream story, that you could embellish in and enjoy the scenery and enjoy what was going on and root for the goodness, part of it. So to me, that's what I enjoyed about it. And it was romantic to me. And I didn't get to see the director's cut, but that was okay, because it was a story, it was a fairy tale, basically. And I enjoyed it exactly the way I got to watch it, and the ending of it, them waving, standing, the little Gump and Una standing by the unicorns and waving at them as they left the forest. And I just thought that was a beautiful ending with beautiful music playing in the background.
Well, there's something that Bowsette said earlier, about a minute ago, and says, Bruce, Jack and Lily are not going to be together. The king would not let them be together. Jack might see her flaws, but the king will not let them be together. They're going to be apart. Unless Lily deserts her kingdom to be with Jack, unless they go on a give us a worldwide privacy tour, a worldwide privacy tour. We want a worldwide privacy tour. We want our privacy. Stop staring at us. Buy my book. And unless they did that, then you would probably have Lily change her ways and turn into Meghan Markle's empty vessel. But it worked out. It works out pretty good in either case, because either movie provides you with a closure. It's just that I don't prefer the closure in the theatrical version. The theatrical version has a little bit less meat on the bone, and the director's cut I've always heard about. After seeing it, I'm really thankful I saw this. Really thankful.
Yeah, I loved it. I still love it. I still love this movie. It still makes me feel, I mean, it's not exactly the same as it was when I got to first watch it when I was a young girl, but seeing it as a woman that knows what romance is and what goes along with it, it still had me longing for that feeling again, you know, to feel like, to have someone look at me that way, or want me the same way that Jack wanted her. You know what I mean? I know it sounds kind of corny and stupid, but you know, I long for romance, and I think a lot of women do. And that's why romantic comedies and things like that still make so much money, because there's a lot of people out there that long for love, that want to feel that way, even for a short time, even if it's just coming from a movie. It's because it's enjoyment. It's just a small slice of romance in your life, and it's a longing of something that everybody wants. I think that's why romance scams and things like that, they're always going to be out there doing that stuff, because there's so many people wanting it, you know, wanting to feel like they're special, that they're number one to someone. And even men, I think of some men that get in that thing where they just want to be loved by someone, and they get scammed because someone's good at pretending to be something that they're not, and take advantage of people that have those feelings. I know I have been. So that's just the way it is. That's reality.
Tommy gives me hope. He says, I have a 3-hour road trip to Disney World. Marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers. I'm ready for when the castle burns to the ground.
Aww.
Oh, give me video. Get us video, please. They're talking about Disney in chat, which is fine. But this is a part of my childhood that just reaffirms my love for Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott he doesn't knock it out of the park on this one. This is probably a solid 8 for me on the director's cut. And the theatrical cut is probably a 6.5. Like, there's a vast difference between the two versions. I mean, to the point where Tom Cruise is telling people, see the director's cut. Mm-hmm. Don't watch the theatrical version, watch the director's cut. Then we can talk about the movie, because I think it's a better product. And I think it's just one of those films that on a lot of levels it succeeds. I'm not going to give it a lot of grief for the fight scenes, because there's only like a couple 80s fantasy films that I'll watch that I actually appreciate the fight choreography. Willow being one, and Highlander, the first Highlander, being the other. Mm-hmm. The other movies, Kroll, Hawk the Slayer, Sword and the Sorcerer. There's other 80s fantasy films that are really bad. I mean, really bad. Deathstalker 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, those movies do not age well, by the way. And I've recently found my copy of Hawk the Slayer, and I tried watching it on a virus machine, and it did not last at all. I should have just tried to watch it on the stream, then click out the X instead of physically putting the CD or the DVD in the tray and connecting the HDMI to the other laptop and watching that on the big screen. I did not have fun. I'm just going to say I did not have fun. That's a movie for a watch party, not a movie for anything else.
Well, the thing is that I would give this movie a 9, and not because it was perfect, because there was quite a few little things like the mask on his face when they were fighting, and then the part where they're fighting in the kitchen before they get the big trays from everyone. It was just too funny how these little tiny little dwarfs or elves or whatever you want to call them are able to battle off these giant ogres, basically, and they were able to put the fire out and all that stuff, uh, all the fires. Because when you looked around when they were in the jail cells, there was like fire everywhere. It seemed like, and I don't know. I just thought they were too easily overpowered. That they were overpowered, the ogres, and the only ones at the end were the ogres were all unconscious, laying on the ground, and none of the people were hurt. That type of thing. So it was a little too fantasy when it came to that one battle for me. I thought the most realistic fight in the whole movie was when Jack fought the witch in the swamp. The most realistic play between the two of them. Do what?
That's a quick fight too.
Yeah, it was really fast. But the thing is, because of his quickness, he was able to cut her head off and ended it quickly. You know what I mean? The fight between Darkness and Jack was pretty believable for some parts of it to me, except for the parts, when you see the mask parts of it, the face on with his gaping mouth or whatever. It just seemed you could tell it was a mask, and it most likely wasn't him. But it was still believable enough that I enjoyed that part, and it didn't take me completely out of the scenes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I enjoyed that. But that's the one scene where they're fighting in the kitchen, to me, was just not believable enough for me. Now the part where they're all taking all the big pans that they've got to reflect the sunlight down into the cavernous dungeons where they were at. I loved all that. To me, that was very believable. You could see them moving and adjusting all of them to try to reflect the light. So I thought that was good, and how they all worked as a team to accomplish that. I really enjoyed that part of it. I thought that was a very good part. But the story to me was good. I liked the whole story.
There's something about the folklore which spills into modern day wargaming that I should probably explain to you real quick, Janet.
Mm-hmm.
Ogres and giants have a hard time squashing dwarves and gnomes. In the earliest versions of Dungeons and Dragons, all the way to the current versions, which I won't go into, whenever a dwarf or gnome encounters a ogre, it turns into this very dexterous little son of a bitch. And typically,
quick and nimble.
Yeah, like typically you have to roll 4 more on the die than what you have to if you're using a big golf ball D20. It's funny as hell that translated into this movie. And when I was watching this yesterday, I was enjoying myself thinking, the DM can't hit. Look, he keeps rolling low. And I'm having fun with the fight in the kitchen. I know that nobody else getting hurt is kind of far-fetched. Yeah, I get it. But this wasn't the penultimate fight. And so the stakes weren't raised high enough yet. That has to continue on for a few more scenes. And then we have to have people starting to get hurt. We have to see Jack start, like becoming stunned by the blows from Darkness or using fire to keep him away from that sword. Those were pretty cool. The worst, God damn it, I'm going to hate saying this. I love Scooby-Doo because it's a part of my childhood. But this movie uses a Scooby-Dooism where they bounce light off reflective plates to beat the bad guy.
Yeah.
And that happens. That happens in this movie. And that's like the one part about the film where I wish like they could have came up with a better solution for how to get rid of Darkness. I'm not being super critical. I'm just saying that I know where you saw this and I don't approve. I don't approve how you did it.
Well, I hadn't seen it before. So to me, it didn't take away from the movie at all. And the like I was saying, when you see the one goblin that had the claw, like a chicken's claw for a hand, and he was in the pie that they saved, and he's standing by the doorway because remember he got shut out when they were able to go into the other cavern where the unicorn was being held, and Jack was able to get in there, and Gump was able to get in there. But that one, I can't remember what his name is. Terrible, sorry. Couldn't get in there. He was standing beside the doors. Well, when the light hits those doors and they explode, okay, he gets like blown away. That one bad little dwarf or whatever with the claw hand that looked like a chicken's claw. So to me, I thought it was awesome the way that they used the sunlight, the one thing that darkness was afraid of. And that's why he wanted to stop the light, because he wanted to be able to walk and go anywhere he wanted in the world, because there would be no daylight. He wouldn't have to stay underground all the time. So to me, I thought it was perfect. I thought it worked well. And it was beautiful the way that they captured the sun rising and then the sun setting each night as part of the story. And I thought that was beautiful. I just loved it. I thought it went right along with all the fantasy of the forest and the beauty of it. And then all of a sudden it's all taken away and it's frozen. It's a wasteland of ice and snow. And because, and all the people were frozen in place, that was because it was a very powerful spell, like Gump said. So I just loved it. I thought all of that aspect of the story was total fairy tale to me. And that's what I would expect. Fairy tale was a little bit over exaggerated story to fill our fantasy of what we thought should happen. And I loved it. I thought they did a great job. And I thought Ridley Scott did an excellent job at with what he had to use at that time. What was it, 1987? When would this movie come out?
A lot of webs are saying 85.
Okay, 1985. So they started filming at least probably a year or two before that, before it even came out. Mm-hmm. So to think about all the stuff that was in this movie and getting to watch it on a bigger screen, it was, I just loved it. I was so immersed in it. I was like a giggling schoolgirl watching it. I just was so excited to get to sit and watch it. And it was quiet, and I got to turn my sound bar on and listen to the beautiful sounds and the music in the background. And it was just, I just loved it. It took me back to my childhood, as a young woman and thinking about my first love type of thing. I loved it. And I could sit and watch it again just for that part of it. So yes, I gave it a higher number than you, but I'm a romantic. Apparently you aren't when it comes to this type of thing.
I see Alabama and Christian Slater staying together longer than I see Lily and Jack.
Well, just like I said, I didn't see it as that they would end up together, because as a young girl, I knew that princesses couldn't marry paupers. Okay, because that's in every fairy tale. Like when the prince finds the beautiful maiden in Sleeping Beauty asleep in the woods. He falls in love with her because she's so beautiful, but he doesn't know how to wake her up, and he doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know she's a princess. He doesn't know anything about her, but he's intrigued by her. And basically, all of us, I think, when we're children and we learn how to play jacks or cards, or you do the marbles, out with your friends in the neighborhood, we all find a girl or a boy that we are sweet on. Our first temptation at what love, budding love. The first person we ever kiss. Yeah. And the little boy's picking on the little girl on the playground because he pulls on her pigtails or whatever, because he has feelings for it, but he doesn't understand what it is. We don't understand what love really is. And I don't think anyone ever really understands it until you lose it. Once it's gone, that's when you realize, gosh, I had so much. I thought I had it all, and it was gone. It's just like it was nothing. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about the romance of it, not the fact that it's a fairy tale that they're going to end up and they're going to end up getting married and having a big, beautiful wedding or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the romance of your first kiss and meeting someone and the excitement of finding out and learning more about them. You know, someone's forbidden because she's having to sneak away and go to the woods, you know, to meet this boy. And he's, you know, he's unkempt, you know, he lives in the woods. So, you know, he's dirty and he doesn't, she couldn't take him with her to meet the king and the queen, you know? So to me, it's forbidden. It's like a temptation. And that's what makes it even more romantic. It's just something that you're not supposed to have, but you want. What does everybody want? But you can't have, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I was talking about the romance of it. Not so much that I thought they were gonna, you know, run off together and get married. You know,
you mentioned Deadpool in your criticism of like Hollywoodisms, and Deadpool and Marina, goddamn it, Marina Baccarin, the lady who played Inara from Firefly. Oh,
yeah.
Angels should sing when I say her name, but anyway, she's a very well, she's a very good emotional actress. Whenever she looks at somebody on screen who she's supposed to be involved with somehow, her eyes, she reminds me of one of those ladies from the old spaghetti western movies that they kind of act more with their eyes than anything on a script. And Deadpool's sweetheart in the two movies, which sadly she gets killed in the second movie, I think their relationship is probably the most perfect relationship for a superhero film, as much as she gets killed off, which irritates me to no end. I mean, it does open up the door for her to be Lady Death later on, and she missed her boat with Thanos. God damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she is somebody that I could see her having a long career in superhero films, being Deadpool's main squeeze. And that's just how, like, that's one of the few movies I've seen where I was absolutely happy at that romance, because those two acted like they were long term. They were not young love. They had some like spryness to them,
but they were grown ups.
Yeah,
okay? There's a difference. But they still had romance, and he was a romantic at heart. In the comic book, you know, everything he did was, you know, with the little hearts and the little bunny rabbits and the unicorns and all the little goofy stuff that he did, because he was he's a romantic. You know, he wants to swoon. You know, he likes to swoon.
He loves to make him swoon. And
that is what makes him unique in the comic book realm. Okay. And basically that's why I said that about Deadpool, because Deadpool is a romance. He's a romantic guy, just like me at heart. Even though he's a badass, you know, he's a badass that can kick ass, you know, but he's still romantic. So I like that about him. That's one thing that I wish men, you know, I'm not saying wussify men, because it's, to me, it doesn't wussify a man because he's romantic. You know, I don't think that those things go together. I mean, it's time. There's times that you need to be romantic, and then there's times you need to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's reality to me, because you can have that in the real world, not just in fantasy. You can have romance, but you can also have, well, it's time to go kick that guy's ass. You know?
Well, I'm just gonna say that I appreciate watching the Deadpool movies, and I need to watch them more, because I actually enjoy those two films. There's supposedly a third one coming up, but if it's by Disney, it's dead to me. And I've had the dead to me aspect for Disney since fucking Captain Marvel. You fucking went out of your way to get your social media Praetorian Guard to go after anybody who had the same thought process as me. Well, fuck you, Disney. And I can't wait for your stupid little castle to burn. watch as everybody incinerates your dumb little, what is that, Peter Pan and Wendy movie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody has given that thing glowing reviews except for the crowd that nobody cares about. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, they're not even people, because they're just abominations. If you're out there butchering your dick or butchering your vajayjay because somebody said it's cool if we do this, you deserve to. It's called the Darwin Awards, and I'm happy you're getting rid of yourself out of the fucking gene pool. Fuck you. Okay? If you, however, have wanted to do this and you're now 30 years old and you're like, I've got the money, I've got the insurance, and I want to turn my dick into a blender and I want to have a vajayjay, okay, cool. That's your position because you thought of this yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's no backsies on this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a happiness for me, and I know this is probably going to get rid of my channel, but whenever I hear these fucking dumb woke retards that went out and got themselves sexually butchered, and then later on they go to Canada and get involved with MAID, and they end up dying, I clap. Because I clap whenever dumb people remove themselves from the gene pool. I clap when I see an asshole in public driving his car too fast for conditions, and he hits a barrier, flips over, and gets crushed. I clap when he goes into the back end of a semi and he dies on scene. I clap. I clap when people do stupid things, like they try to take pot shots at cops, and 70 cops arrive, loaded a bear, and just gun him down and turn him into a grease spot. I love it when I see dumb people remove themselves from the gene pool. It's just happy.
I understand where you're coming from. When I would say that about that TV show about that guy getting glued to the other guy's chest and all that stuff. Remember what was the name of that show again? Jackass.
Yeah. It was Jackass.
Anyone that does that kind of stupid stuff, I don't want to breed. I don't want them to have children. I mean, we don't need more people like that. We need less people like that. We need people that think, that can think and solve problems, and be able to use weapons or grow food. And I mean, there's just so many things that we need. We don't need dumbasses that do dumb shit and teach young people to do more dumb shit. So I understand what you're saying. And I agree. I agree in a lot of aspects of what you just said, because we don't need that in the world. We have enough. We have way more in abundance of dumbasses in the world.
And the problem is
I wish we just had a few more people with common sense.
We are going through a period where I consider it the Great Flushing. And for those of you that know I'm a plumber, I'm saying this quite literally. We are allowing the dumb ideas to be construed as normal. And they are doing the things to get rid of themselves. Maybe there will be too many of us normal people that think clearly and have a mindset where we're going to think 5 steps ahead or 2 steps ahead, or at least try to wonder critically what's going to happen after this.
Yep.
While the great stupidity continues on and they continue to flush themselves, which they will. And I have a great mindset that they are going to continue these stupid ideas until they wonder why are there not more LGBTQM people. They're trying to normalize the maps. You know what I'm talking about. This period of time, you can just step back and stop buying Disney and stop buying from stupid woke companies, and anybody that likes ESG or makes money hand over fist on ESG ideas. You can just step back and be like, I don't need to buy from you right now. There's the alternate market for this, or there's the high seas for this, and I can reward those people for giving me the chance to watch your item at no cost to you. Or at no reward to you, because you deserve no reward. You have bad ideas and you're pushing them on our people, on our kids especially. Fuck you. And I can't wait to see you burn. And I'm enjoying what we have right now, because Disney has gone and doubled down. They had a bad idea back in 2009. We're going to do a live action Alice in Wonderland. Kind of made money, not really. It didn't make money in the long run. Nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever says, "Oh my God, it was so good." Then they've continued to throw money at these live action remakes of their cartoon classics, which they don't need to do. And then they've gotten upset and they've started throwing their agenda and their mindset into all of these films. And Disney's, I'm using them as the main culprits, but other big companies are doing this too because ESG rewards them for doing stupid things. And if we can just cut the purse strings to where our tax dollars don't go and give money back to these losers with loser ideas, I would really be happy. Anyway, the book title is Wah, as Calvin says. Actually, I believe it was Wah, but
Papa Cotton said women don't get jackass, and it's not surprising. I get jackass to a degree because I was a tomboy, and all the guys that I hung with did the same dumb shit, okay, on horseback or whatever it was in the pickup truck. And they'd go out and they would spin circles in the mud. I mean, almost wearing out one whole set of tires with men hanging on the rails, flying out and getting shot off of this back of this pickup truck. And it was a miracle that none of them ran over each other in the mud and stuff. So to me, it was just dangerous. I don't understand it, I guess, because I'm not loaded with testosterone. But I could see why they did it. And I didn't hate them because they did it. And I never ragged them for it. I just told them that I hope they didn't kill each other. That is one of the things I said. But I can understand why they do it because they're guys. And guys do stuff like that. They do the macho thing where they got to prove that they're men or something.
I don't know if that's a macho thing or not. But like, I did my share of stupid things as a child. And I mean, like, oh look, it's a ramp off of a. We're gonna put this small like steel ramp that's about 18 inches high with a 30-degree lift at the end. We're gonna put that at the end of the dock at the warehouse. We're gonna race our BMXs to it and try to go as far as we can. Well, 2 jumps later, and not me, but Timmy goes down with busted wrists, and I decide my banana seat bike cannot handle that stress. It will break. And then the paramedics came and they took Timmy away, and they took away our ramp too. Because the ramp was portable. We could take it anywhere, but one of the idiots was like, "Yay, let's go put it on this dock and let's go for distance." And he kind of made it pretty far. He didn't stick the landing too well, but he didn't like break his wrist like in like 4 different places like little Timmy did. And that was a joyful experience as a young man watching somebody else make a mistake. Like, I can save myself the pain by not doing what he did. And that was the first time I remember doing that. Women think too much about things ahead of time, and that's why women are going to live longer.
Yeah, I admit that. I think I overanalyze everything. I don't know why. I don't know why I do it. I guess it's because of the estrogen or something. The chemical changes or things in my brain compared to a man is different. But that's what makes us attracted to each other. You know, when you have a man and a woman that meet, there's a chemical magnet basically that pulls you together because you're what you have in yours and what I have in mine are 2 different things, and it attracts to get the 2 gaps. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's natural, and in a way I think that's a good thing, because how boring would it be if we were all into the same thing? You know, I don't know. I'm glad that there's the differences, and sometimes it's fun to watch the guys do stupid shit. You know, when you're at deer camp and the guys are all doing stuff, and you're like, oh my God, one of them's going to shoot their foot off or something. You know, but I used to watch that show. It was a show on TV, and I can't remember the guys' names. I think one of them is kind of really woke now. It was a show called The Man Show. And it had girls jumping on trampolines in slow motion and they're bouncing, you know, and it just had the funniest stuff on there. To me, that was funny, but it didn't have the danger aspect. They did goofy shit, but they didn't have things that I thought that Jackass did. They put themselves in so much danger on there, and young boys or whatever watching those shows, to me it just was scary because I couldn't help but watch it as a mother, you know, thinking about my child doing some of this stuff. It's scary as hell, you know. If you walked out and you caught your son sniffing gas or something like that, you whip his ass. And don't tell me you wouldn't, because when you love someone, you don't want them to do bad things. You don't want them to hurt themselves or end up, dying because they're huffing gas or whippets or whatever those things are. So I'm just saying that we all go through periods of doing dumb stuff. I mean, like just something stupid, sneaking out of the house. I mean, a young girl sneaking out at 13 or 14 years old and hitching a ride down the road, to meet up with some friends, and then never getting out of the car because she gets hitchhiked by some sick bastard that ends up raping her and killing her and leaving her on the side of the road. So, I can understand the excitement of it, but now as a mother, I can't think back that way. I can't. That part of me is gone, I guess, the part that sees it as fun and things like that, because now I just can't see it that way anymore. All I can see is the bad things that will most likely happen if we're not careful. So I'm sorry if I ruin your night because I said that, but I would love to be able to go back and have no cares in the world and just think about the fun and the excitement and stuff, but I just can't put myself in that mindset anymore for some reason. I guess your hormones change once you carry a child in your stomach and give birth to it. It changes your point of view.
Not only that, your hormones change, but also you're never warm again a day in your life.
You never what?
You're never warm again a day in your life. I can't walk past my wife without her grabbing a hold of me and grabbing me in a hug, being like, I just need your body heat.
Yeah.
And that's like, that ruins.
That's a good thing. So many people wish they had that, in their life, just to have someone to grab them and want to hug them every day.
Listen,
so you're a lucky man.
I sleep with a very thin loincloth. Okay. And it frustrates other people. It has caused other people fits. Like, how can you be warm? How can you be warm? It's like 20 degrees outside. It's like negative 10 degrees outside. And I'm like this all the time. And I live in Texas, which now it's a wasted talent to be able to broil, set your partner to broil at night whenever you're laying in bed next to them. I think I'm gonna have to get twin beds instead of having a big queen bed or something. But I absolutely roast whoever is laying near me. I have on screen here, at least I hope I have on screen, I've got the makeup department here. And this is just kind of interesting to me. There's a off IMDb, of course.
Yeah.
But you have the great Rob Bottin here, special makeup creator. And you have all these other chaps in here, chaps and ladies, that are working on this movie. This is the biggest makeup crew I've ever seen for a film.
Well, that's because it was in 1985, like you said.
Yep.
And they didn't have all the technology that they have today, like CGI and an air sprayer, the air makeup brush. Because one scene I remember watching them on Grudge Match where they airbrushed Sylvester Stallone's chest and covered his tattoos and then put different tattoos on him.
Yeah.
For the movie, things like that. So you can do things a lot quicker now with fewer people because of the technology advances that we have. Like on American Horror Story, you had, I think, 5 people walking around touching up hair and lipstick and clothing and stuff like that. So it depends on how many people you're going to have in the scene and what kind of makeup needs to be done for people. If you're going to have a war movie, you're definitely going to have more makeup people because there are going to be more people with blood and things like that. And then they also have to take pictures because when they have to do, let's say they're having this big scene and they got close-ups on, 7 or 8 different people. Well, they take photographs because if they have to reshoot that scene and edit it together, they have to have the bloody areas and stuff all in the same exact spot so that when they edit it all together, everything, is cohesive. So, you got to have a lot of people to do that stuff, but you don't need as many now as you used to because the technology is better.
And showing all of 1 win and 12 nominations, it was nominated for the Academy Awards for Best Makeup, Rob Bottin. Rob Bottin and Peter Rob King.
Mhm.
Nominated for BAFTA film, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup Artist, Best Special Effects. They gave it the nominee for Saturn Award, and it won the Best Cinematography Award, oddly enough.
Mhm.
And then the DVD awards come out, and Best Overall New Extra Features, Library Release, the Ultimate Edition, the Original Retrospective Documentary for Creating a Myth for the Ultimate Edition. And by the way, if you're looking for this, I believe you can find that on the web if you use Bing, or maybe even like on page 7 or 8 of Google on your search, because I found it. And this is
Yeah,
just,
I knew it had to be nominated for stuff because it was just the sets and stuff were just breathtaking, I thought.
the saddest part about this movie is that it cost them $24 million to make,
Mhm.
and they only made $23 million worldwide. Now, they made more on the DVD releases, and since then,
Mhm.
they've made their money back. They have. But it was one of those films that had to be, we have to wait for it to get on VHS. We have to wait for it to get on Laserdisc for us to make our money. And that was the sad thing about it.
Yeah. I can understand that though. Because that's the thing. When you make a movie that's a romantic comedy or a fantasy or a sci-fi, certain genres just are not as popular. You know, it's just not going to have as many people want to pay to go see it. It's not a movie for everyone type of thing. So I can see why it probably wouldn't have done as well in some markets because people just aren't interested in a lot of that. It's like you said, your mom didn't want to watch it because she didn't like Tom Cruise.
I used to drive a big rig across the nation, and every time I'd go into Oklahoma, I'd always check out the movie theaters because I'd have to stop in Tulsa, and then I'd have another stop in OKC. And the movie theaters always played the most bland-ass, white bread mainstream movies possible. So anybody who's a film critic from Oklahoma, I feel for you, and I'm so happy we all have broadband now. The chat's talking about how they love the Tubi website. Tubi is a really good website, and actually they have I believe a small subscription service as well that's not free. It's just a couple bucks, like $5 or $6 a month, I think. It's worth it. You can watch the entire Babylon 5 on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
Babylon 5.
It has commercials. I think that's why they're able to. I know, but I'm just saying, I think that's why they're able to do it as cheap as they do it, because they offer what we used to get when we were growing up watching TV with commercials and stuff.
I would watch a commercial if I was watching a quality show.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have a problem. Like I watched Pandorum with commercials. And oh, by the way, kids, I was debating between Pandorum and now I forgot the damn name of the movie. Inconceivable. Yeah, that movie from Princess Bride. And as much as I want to do the Princess Bride, Janet has never seen Pandorum with Dennis Quaid and Ben, what's his name? He was in Lone Survivor. Pandorum is a great movie.
I guess.
I think it is. I enjoyed it a lot. And as much as like it does have the ham-fisted, like they couple up at the very end, it's kind of necessary, and you'll understand that. Pop Cotton's like, everybody raves about Babylon 5, but I can't get past 5 minutes of that ridiculous shit. Yes, the makeup effects are terrible. In 2023, makeup is horrible. They did not have Rob Bottin on makeup duty. I get it. Watch the first season if you can, Papa Cotton. And if you can, dude, you're gonna be in for a good ride. Because he set it up to where JMS was like, give me 3 seasons. Give me 3 seasons and I'll give you the best sci-fi we've had yet. If you give me 3 seasons, I can write the 2 final seasons and I'll give you the best sci-fi that we've had yet. I can't watch all of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I hate it. I hate the first season, except for 4 episodes. The second season starts to get a little better. By season 4, I can watch the entire thing because I'm seeing the crew act as a crew should. The first season is just everybody's too happy-go-lucky, shiny, happy fucking people bullshit. Fuck you. And the addition of Guinan didn't really help me much. It wasn't until the Borg arrived at the end of season 2 that I really fell in love with The Next Generation. And I still don't love it because it's got Wesley. Fuck him. Shut up, Wesley. I will watch Babylon 5. I will not touch my miniatures when I watch Babylon 5. But I will fuck with miniatures the whole time, the whole season, no matter what season it is of Star Trek Next Generation. I will focus on something else. It's not that good. And I know I've just offended somebody there. I'm sorry. Picard sucks. Give me Kirk any day. Or Cisco. But next week, I want to do Pandorum. We can do Princess Bride in 3 weeks. Which both of those are really good movies. Pandorum is not as good a quality of movie as Princess Bride, but Pandorum is more a film that I could just get into it and just amazingly just soak in it because it's got some really fun stuff for sci-fi nerds. It's got your colony ships. It's got your like what the hell's going on. It's got questions. It's got a few answers in it, and the movie builds up fairly well. And I can't wait to talk about it next week.
Well, I'm excited to watch something I've never seen, which is always good. Gives me a whole new perspective on things.
Yay!
So I'm excited about it. But I love this movie. Anyone who hasn't seen it, if you could just sit down and just try to just bring your inner child out and sit and watch this movie, I think you would be swept away by it because it actually is good. It's a good fantasy film. I really do enjoy it, and I think everyone would enjoy it if they could sit and watch it. I don't care how old you are. But I don't recommend it for really young children because I think that darkness is just, and some of the goblins are just too scary. It might cause them to have nightmares. So I recommend you do that.
I would say if you're 12 years of age and up, or if you've got a mature 10-year-old kid that he's read the first Harry Potter novel and you're withholding it until he turns 11 or she turns 11, you could go ahead and let them watch this movie because they have an idea of what is really bad in this world. They've got an idea that no matter how cool you are, you can be taken out by something much nastier than yourself. Yeah. And that's something that's kind of wrong with kids because kids today aren't taught that. They're not taught things like self-preservation or think things through. They're shown TikTok and they devour that, and then they just turn into these miserable little dumb shits, and they end up in various news reports. It's funny, and Bowser's like the movie is PG, not G for a reason. I'm just saying. Yeah, parental guidance is suggested.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. To explain things. Just like you said, you had to explain things to your dad. I think that was sweet of you to do that for your dad.
Well, my dad is not a fantasy guy. He didn't get into fantasy until the Hobbit movies came out, and then he went back and watched all the Lord of the Rings films because he watched them, but he thought like they're really long. And we went and saw them in theaters. Like, they're really long. And I said, "Did you enjoy them?" Yeah, it was a really nice movie. They had good special effects because he always looks at special effects. My dad is a very visual guy. Ridley Scott, James Cameron are the two people we always like fence about verbally over who makes a better film. And I think Ridley Scott's probably done better through time than Cameron. Cameron has kind of dropped the ball on me a little bit, and I tried watching The Way of Water, and I got bored. It's not a bad movie. It's just not my movie. Don't take it as it's an absolute trash fire. No, it's not. It's got a lot of good stuff to it. It's just not the movie for me, and I recognize that, and there's some political leanings on there for him to like not want to glorify all the guns that solve problems. You know, guns do solve problems. They get rid of bad people. And he doesn't want that in his films. Well, that's you, James, and I don't need to watch your movies anymore if that's how you're going to be, you little sensitive prick. And that's just how it is. Great. We all get along now. You know, you're not going to make money for me, and I'm not going to give a shit about what you release. But he's got a prodigy in Robert Rodriguez that put out a really good film 4 years ago called Alita Battle Angel. And Alita Battle Angel was supposed to be Cameron's baby, and Rodriguez got it. And he really
I love that movie.
I've got it on DVD over in the corner. I bought my dad a copy of it. My dad's like, this is really good. And my mom watched it. She's like, the eyes weird me out. I'm like, it's a robot, Mom. She's like, the eyes weird me out. And I'm like, what do you mean? She says, well, no, usually the eyes get blurry. Like in the Star Trek 2009, there's a scene where the pregnant girl is being shuttled. It's Kirk Mama. And one of the ladies in the shuttlecraft has got some CGI eyes. Well, because it's James, I can't stick a landing Abrams. He doesn't do fucking CGI worth a shit in his movies. He just kind of like throws a C effort or a D effort at it and like, nah, that's fine. And the eyes, if you look at them, like they're miserable. The eyes on this chick that's not human, I don't know what race she is, I don't give a shit. It's an Abram verse. You never see her again, but it doesn't pass muster. The eyes fail. But in this movie, Battle Angel Alita, the eyes in that little girl remain clear at all points. And I think it's probably a testament to the better versions of CGI editing and software we can do. What is Aria? Ooh. Hey, Aria, can I share this? Can I share this with people? I mean, I'm not trying to like put your business out there, but you don't have like an address on it. How much of a bill do they want? Because Aria's got something really kind of cool. If she says no, she says no. But okay, cool. Thank you. Share screen. Add the stream. Bam. Look at that.
Wow.
I love this.
Yeah, I wish I had it. How much are they asking for it?
Let us know. Spawn.com. Okay.
About 100.
That's the favorite.
I would buy it for 100.
Yeah.
Box. And it's one of my favorite characters. I mean, I have the complete set. I have from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I had the poster. I have the album cover. Then I have that Magenta's hat. I have all the little whatever those pops, I guess, characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Funko Pops that recently got bulldozed. $30 million of Funko Pops being put into a Nevada desert right next to an ET cartridge factory. Oh, my bad.
Well, I have Funko Pops. Well, I had friends that gave them to me. A lot of my collections of stuff, like I've got a snow globe with Spider-Man in it. It's a Spider-Man snow globe, and it plays Itsy Bitsy Spider. And it was a gift. You know, one of my Wolverine characters, posable Wolverine, you know, tall 6-inch collectible. It was given to me as a gift. So, you know, people know what I like. And when it's a gift, you know, it's you know, special. It's more sentimental, but it's also something I want to keep. So I like it a lot. So I would get that for myself as a gift. Say I deserve it. But yeah, that's cool. And it's Darkness, my favorite character, but you know, I can't help it. I love stuff like that.
That's great. That for like I said, the representation of evil that he is, that is the best representation of evil I've ever seen in a movie. And
who knows? Did you see anything about how long it took to put all that makeup on? And you put the prosthetics on his head and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And spent more on Robotech and lacrosse figures 15 years ago. If you got the skill, do it, Bowsette. Go for it. Yeah, the new stuff is getting a little bit pricey, Tommy. I'll say that. Oh, by the way, if you guys see that link in chat, go ahead and that'll take you to a site where you can view a version of the movie we talked about tonight, because I love that movie. And I share things like that. Janet, any other questions? Anything else you want to add to this film before we cut the stream? We're down to about maybe 5 or 7 people left here, and I don't mean to say, oh, we've lost our audience. Time to cut it down. Hey, Woke Breaker, how you doing? Do you have anything else you want to discuss about this film?
No, I pretty much poured my heart out about how I felt about it. I still love it. It's one of my favorite films when I was young, and I'd still love it. It's just full fantasy. It's a real fantasy movie, and I think the crew, people, everyone that was involved in bringing the forest to life and the characters to life, I think they did a phenomenal job on this, to me. And I don't think they could ever remake this. It would never. It's never going to be able to match what we saw with these characters and these actors being those characters.
I think Jack would be a little tomboy girl or something, and Lily would be replaced by some like Harold Ramis 19-year-old kid, real phony, and like, I'm the prince, you know, and he'd pretty much be like spectacular, and he would do that, and he would just like take he would completely emasculate this guy, you know, this, and that would be the new version, because we have to have that. Klaus Schwab says so, and I can't wait.
Woke Breaker said hello, Woke Breaker, and Cal said something. You were a country, Janet. What does that mean? I'm a hillbilly.
not a hillbilly. Hillbilly means that nobody touches her. Country means like if you're on the road and your truck breaks down, you're grabbing the jack, and Janet's getting the wrench.
Well, I can change the tire. I can definitely change the tire on a car.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to get the jack. Like, you would probably grab the wrench and socket set while the other was getting the jack out and throwing that under the truck, and
Yeah.
You're a lady. You know, you don't need to just like my wife. You know, if she's got heavy stuff going on, okay, if I'm over here, you know, let me help you out with that. Let me help you get this laundry upstairs. Because that's what men do. That's you're built to haul things. You've got denser muscularity. You're just supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's if you get yourself a good guy, or if you get yourself a good gal. You can work as a good team and get things accomplished.
Exactly, and that's the entire reason why we have these silly little arguments about romanticism in movies. But,
no, that's fine. But that's what we're supposed to do, is give our truthful point of view on what we get out of something, get out of a movie, what it is about it that we love, and what it is that we absolutely think is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
What we don't like.
This movie,
I love this movie. I mean, it's not a perfect 10. It's I don't even know if there is such thing, but some things have come very close to that. But this is one of the best, one of my favorite fantasy films.
I don't think I have any criticisms yet of Big Trouble in Little China. I'm pretty certain I still don't have any criticisms of that film. I absolutely, I need to watch it again here soon. That's an absolutely great movie, gem of a film. And I love that movie, but that's my peak perfection, because the reason why I even go back and even reflect on that in the middle of this stream or the end of this stream is that it has great characters, it has a good soundtrack, it has believable flow of events. got a good pace. It's almost relentless. In 1986, it was hard to like catch your breath watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 2022. We have really good editing software, and we can make things seem more frantic. J.J. Abrams' film, if you're not analyzing a movie of his, can seem like it's a lot of fun. I thought that I could have fun with his movies,
Yeah.
but no, I can't. I fell asleep at Star Wars. The Force Awakens, the lightsaber fight. I fell asleep during that part. How could I? How you fail, JJ? Anyway, Big Trouble in Little China has also not only really good setups, but the fight choreography sticks a landing.
Mm-hmm.
For a 1986 film, yeah, you can see some of the actors or some people aren't like throwing their all in it. Others in that movie are really doing a damn good job. That movie is about as perfection as it gets, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the only movie close to that, oh yeah, how'd you guys see that I was a John Carpenter fan? The Thing is my 9 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
The Thing and Escape from New York have wonderful everything but the fights. The fights in those movies kind of don't really like go smooth on camera. You can tell there's an altercation, but there's no real fight in Escape from New York, which is a demerit, like an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
The Thing, there's just like a couple scenes in there where I'm like, eh. And it's not anything that Rob Bottin did. It's the fight choreography. It's the struggle between the men. And that's the only thing. But if you ask Bruce, what's your perfect movie, Bruce? Without fail, if I'm not alive, you won't hear it. But my perfect movie is Big Trouble in Little China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other part, Sick Nation 31 Kings hits it. He remembers my biggest, like, when I got it in 2007, got the DVD and I'm listening to the commentary track, and they said what I was thinking. Kurt Russell's a lead who should be a side chick. He should be the sidekick. Excuse me, not side chick. He should be the side guy. He should be the helper. But every opportunity he gets to be the hero, something happens. Like he shoots a gun into the ceiling and gets hit in the head with rocks, or he does something and he can't fight. The one, he does redeem himself at the end of the movie, which it's wonderful. That's I will watch that movie without a miniature paintbrush in hand. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how you know if I'm liking a film. But that is my all-time, like, if somebody's like, hey Bruce, it's this night, you wanna go watch a Big Trouble in Little China? Dude, we're in. That's all you gotta say. So yes, I'm a simp for that movie. I'm a sucker for that movie. I love that movie. Kim Cattrall and Miao Yen. She's the most beautiful Oriental lady still to this day that I've seen. And even saying that, and I know the lady who played Chun-Li in the Street Fighter 1994 movie. God bless you, Raul Julia. You sold that movie. The lady who played Chun-Li at the age of 53 or 55 looks like she did when she was 30.
Mm-hmm.
She has Janet from Another Planet style genetics. And I'm not telling you guys how young Janet is, but I'm just going to say Janet's amazing.
Well, I try to take care of myself. That's all I can do. Eat right, exercise, moisturize.
Moisturize, take good care of yourself, get the right amount of sleep, exercise. Yeah, the fitting items for a successful person. And I need to do more exercise. I get it. I'm cutting a lot of this crap out of my life. This is hard to kick. I'm just going to say that, but I've got some things in play, and I'm drinking about 1.5 gallons of water a day. So I'm seeing pounds starting to come off a little bit.
That's good. I haven't had a soda pop in 14 years.
You're not missing a thing. I'm telling you that honestly.
I don't miss it at all. So, you just have to make decisions for yourself and decide what you want to do. And if you want to live a long time, I want to live as long as I can. I mean, I can't help if I get hit by a bus or, I'm in a plane crash or something. But, you know, for what I put in my body and on my body, you know, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure it's something I think is good for me.
I have the options where I can drink emergency by volume, and I can increase my immune factor or immune system quite a bit. Or I could go the Keith Richards route and just try to preserve everything on the inside with chemicals and mummify myself. But I don't think that'd be good for you and me. I don't think that'd be good for me and a lot of things going on in my life. So I'd lose a lot of. I would no longer be a licensed plumber. So,
well, you don't need to do that.
Because I have to pee, and I like playing with people's shit because it pays a lot of money. Okay. Would you like to lead us out before we bore our loving audience to death? And by the way, audience, I really want to say thank you for staying with us for 2 hours, 12 minutes. Really appreciate everything you did by staying here and adding to the chat and just being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Boys and girls all over the world are being abused and tortured.
The worst moments of these children's lives, they're being videotaped and they're being shared with other offenders all over the world.
Many people would refer to this as CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
They are suffering and they don't think that anyone is coming to help them. But we can. We can build that army and we can go get them.
Come be a part of this team that is trying to push back this evil.